Welcome back on the Pursuit of Wealth Connoisseurs. It's Rod with Pow Group, your home for MJ stocks, crypto assets, news, and interviews. It is Saturday, November 22nd. Hope you're having a great weekend so far. Took my daughter to see Disney on Ice last night. She absolutely loved it. So once again, hope you're having a great weekend. And in this video, we're going to do another rapid fire news update, this time for the period November 15th to the 21st. And again, it's just a high level overview in case you missed it. And if you did miss it, you can dive into it more in your own time. Before we get to it, make sure to smash the like. If you're new, you can subscribe, tick the bell. You'll be notified when I post new content, and I do these rapid fire news updates each and every weekend. But as always, it's not financial advice. This is for entertainment purposes only. And you can follow us over on X, formerly Twitter. The handle for that is @GroupPow. Just want to remind everybody as well, there'll be links for this in the description. TradingView is having a massive Black Friday sale at the moment. You can get up to 80% off plus a free month. So this is what I use to do my charting. If you're looking to take your analysis to the next level, again, there'll be links for this in the description. Help support the channel. I recently upgraded to the Ultimate. So you can see here, this is the plan that I'm currently on. Definitely overkill for most people. Certainly not required. I totally recommend the Premium though. That's probably the best bang for your buck and would be the most suitable for pretty much everybody on average. So check that out if you're interested. Like I said, it's probably the best deal I've seen yet. Also, Tilray Brands publishes new investor presentation. I published a video on this, and I went through in detail the new presentation, and let me know your thoughts and opinions on this, but definitely shows and showcases the global powerhouse in the making. Also, Canopy Growth expands their Spectrum Therapeutics portfolio in Australia with new soft gels, and One Hemp urges immediate action on misguided federal hemp restrictions. So that continues to be the hangover this week with the federal hemp ban, right? The government shutdown ended, and that ended up being part of the spending bill, and the government shutdown ending was some language with regards to the loophole with regards to intoxicating hemp. So that has sent the industry up in arms, essentially, and it continues to rattle the market, right? The sector continued to bleed out this week. In the broader market, the S&P 500 has been weak. Risk off has entered the market again, and MJ is probably one of the most riskiest sectors on the planet. So if we're no longer seeing risk on appetite, that more than likely translate to a sell-off in MJ. But we'll see what happens. I think there's a little bit of a silver lining here overall, but yeah, it's been brutal. Not going to downplay that. I know a lot of people reaching out to me this week and saying, you know, this industry is so manipulated. I've never seen anything like it, and unfortunately, yes, it probably is being manipulated more than anything in the past, but this isn't new. They do this to every new upcoming, burgeoning, disruptive industry. And this is disrupting alcohol, pharma, tobacco, clothing companies, food companies, everything, folks. Like, this is a miracle plant. It can be used in pretty much every asset of the economy, right, in one form or another. And it's medicine, right? So, yeah, there's so much to disrupt that it's no wonder that they're manipulating it so much. Also, pets will suffer needlessly in federal hemp ban if it takes effect and limits CBD access, veterinarian says. So again, it all walks of life, right? The new federal hemp ban is an opportunity to legalize MJ across the board in an op-ed posted here on MJ Moment. So again, why are we doing all these piecemeal, patchwork and closing loopholes? Why not just regulate hemp and MJ like in Canada? For over 7 years now, it's been legal at the federal level, and we had this profound idea that we were just going to regulate hemp and MJ the same. Wow! And then, with crypto, the U.S. can't figure out what's going on there either. We just had this profound idea that, like if we sell a stock, you get a capital gain. How about this new profound idea? When you sell a crypto, you get a capital gain on it. it's I can't even stand. It's almost hilarious at this point. And they have no shame, these U.S. politicians. I don't care if it's left, right, blue, red. They're all terrible. Like, we should fire them all. It's the only way to get a clean slate and to end this, well, for lack of a better word, corruption. It's just nonsense, folks. It's absolutely ludicrous, insanity, asinine, whatever you want to call it. And then Cory Booker loves to run his mouth but do absolutely nothing. Will accept any progress on MJ, saying there's a common purpose for reform across parties. Well, how about we all get together and do something? And it's so frustrating at this point. Like I said, in Canada, over 7 years legal. And it's not because they don't want to. It's not because they're dumb. It's not because of the science. It's not because they don't have the data. It's because they're not ready to yet. But again, crypto legislation coming into effect here pretty soon. Clarity Act, and then I think they're going to pivot over to MJ. And then Nancy Mace circulates bill to block the hemp psychoactive component ban that Trump signed into law, so a lot of pushback coming here as well. So, there's some good people in Congress, there's some good people in politics, obviously, but I would say 80 to 90% of them are just absolute useless. Like, they're not listening to the people, the will of the people. Why aren't you doing what the people want you to do? And just look at the upheaval that we've had as a result. You got Rand Paul slamming alcohol and MJ interests over federal hemp ban, announcing he'll file a bill to reverse it next week as well. You got Joe Rogan slamming really bad federal hemp ban Trump signed, blaming alcohol industry for influencing Congress. So again, folks, what do you think? Who has the most to lose? Big alcohol, big tobacco, big pharma. And it's no wonder even Seth Rogen said something similar. Like, obviously some of these big corporations have a lot to lose, right? It's pretty obvious. So who knows? Maybe we'll get some common sense come through, but I don't care which party it is. The last party that was in power had 4 years to do it, did absolutely diddly squat. This one did the Farm Bill in 2018, and then they had this loophole. That created a whole other thing. Now we're back to that administration, and they're just trying to patch things together, and it's just a bastardized way of doing everything. Like, it's the U.S. in one sentence. It's basically upside down world. Nothing makes sense from the outside looking in, but inside everything just makes perfect sense to all of them. It's just I can't even. This is why I hate all politics, and nothing more than I hate than American politics. It's just they absolutely butchered the crypto industry. Now they're finally starting to make amends there and right the wrongs. Now the industry the next industry, MJ, they've completely destroyed it. Like, you could, like, a monkey with half a brain and a blindfold on could make better drug policy than these idiots that we have. And I don't care which party it is. They're all terrible. Every single one of them. Like, as far as I'm concerned, they haven't done anything. And it doesn't matter which party. There's been tons of parties in power, and none of them have done anything. It's just been empty promises. And basically, like, they just disregarding what the American people say. So it's just, until people start, being held for their actions. And I know you can't just go in there and fire everybody, but man, wouldn't that be awesome? Decibel reports third quarter 2025 financial results. A lean machine here. Another thing I get out of this as well, profitability. They've been seeing some growth from international, so if you haven't seen that, you can check it out. Avicanna's new oral delivery platform boosts cannabinoid absorption in preclinical testing. So great development there. Also, U.S. Congress legislation to end MJ prohibition nationwide and allow expungements gain 60th sponsor. So there's some information coming here in just a moment where we might not even need Congress because they're absolutely useless. But we'll talk about that in just a second. Vext reports Q3 2025 financial results, revenue up 41% year over year, and operating cash flow year to date reaches $8.5 million. I know some people in the Power Group private community are interested in them. If you haven't seen it, you can check it out. The U.S. Supreme Court could soon end federal MJ prohibition. Here's why it's no longer a far-fetched possibility. So, wouldn't it be just awesome if we could bypass useless Congress who does absolutely nothing? Like, you can't get anything done. It's just a complete farce at this point. So how about we just bypass that completely useless, like, part of the government, and we go to the Supreme Court? This would be absolutely awesome. So growing legal and political developments are raising new questions about whether the U.S. Supreme Court could soon revisit and potentially strike down a federal prohibition on MJ. And essentially it could be done with one stroke of a pen, like if they all agree to this. So we'll see what happens here, but I really wanted to get Anthony Martinelli on the channel this week for an interview, but he had another emergency in the family, so he wasn't able to join. I interviewed him once in the past, so I was really looking forward to it. Worked very hard on it, so hopefully I'll get him on in the next week or two. And this would be one of the things that I would like to discuss as well. But yeah, this is how I could see it playing out. 7 years since Canada, over 7 years since Canada has been legal, and the U.S. can't even figure out what schedule it belongs on, if at all. And yeah, we'll see. This would definitely catch everybody by surprise. But do I think it's going to happen this way? Potentially. I mean, there's no end in sight with regards to Congress. Like, there's absolutely no promise there whatsoever. So I would say this makes more sense than anything else. It's just, a complete joke right now in Congress. Also, Cannabis Biotech Inc. to announce fiscal Q4 2025 and fiscal year 2025 financial results on November 24th, 2025, and provides board updates. That's going to be on Monday morning. Also, CBDMD reports preliminary unaudited fourth quarter and fiscal 2025 results, and Canada's legal MJ sales rise to Canadian 474.9 million in September, up 6.5% from last year, bringing year-to-date above 4 billion. So again, folks, I know there's a lot of ticked off people, just in the Power Group private community, in my comments on my videos, and just across different social media platforms, people reaching out saying, have you ever seen anything like this? And, just my account was 100% higher than it is now. I had this huge gain, and now I'm basically break even, or I'm back into the red again. And I know it's frustrating. But this is what, we have to understand. We're basically at the mercy of the useless U.S. government, right? And it's not because they are dumb. It's not because they're they just don't understand the industry. They don't understand the science. It's because of their constituents. It's because of the lobbyists. It's because of the big industries like big pharma, big alcohol, big tobacco. They're trying to slow this industry down, right? And that's what the U.S. government, it's a machine to help oil the corporations. It's all about making the rich richer. That's always been the case. And they're going to do it as long as they can. They're going to slow it down as long as they can. And that's why in my portfolio, I have a plan for if the U.S. legalizes or if they don't legalize. That's all you can do, right? Have a plan for all scenarios. And there's a reason why I hold a lot more Canadian LPs than I do American companies, is because why would I? The Canadian companies are growing internationally. We have a legal framework here to operate in. They're getting investment dollars from big alcohol and big tobacco and big pharma, right? But you don't see this happening in the U.S. names because there's no clear pathway to legalization, and there's a lot of uncertainty. So with these companies, big corporations, CPG brands, and Fortune 500 companies, they like certainty. They like regulation. They have a fiduciary duty. They need to adhere to a certain shareholder. They're shareholders. They have to adhere to their fiduciary duty. They can't just be willy nilly into an industry that's Schedule 1 in the U.S. Right? So they're going to focus on the countries that have a legal framework, especially at the federal level, like Canada, and now internationally. So there's a lot of opportunities out there, beyond the U.S. Obviously, the U.S. is the biggest opportunity, but there's more people in Europe than there is in the U.S., right? So there's always opportunities out there, and in my opinion, the longer this goes on, this nonsense in the U.S., the bigger the advantage that we're going to see these Canadian LPs and a lot of these international companies outside of the U.S. have. And that's why it pays to be diversified as well. I own some Curaleaf. I own some, a couple other U.S. names. Curaleaf being my second biggest holding and my number one biggest MSO. But, I just can't say into words how frustrating it is, right? If you would have asked anybody who's been following the MJ space, since 2017, 2018, if you think in 2026 it still wouldn't be legal at the federal level, I bet you nobody would say it. There's no way it would take them 7 or 8 years after Canada, right? But here we are, and like I said, there's no end in sight. And who knows, maybe the Supreme Court could catch us all off by surprise and just do it in one foul swoop, but I don't know. At this point, I just expect the absolute worst with regards to the U.S. because, it's like how to be the worst politician on earth. And the U.S. has got that figured out. They win the award for the worst political system in the world. And I don't care if you think, what you think. Just hate all politics, life get better, right? Left, right, whatever color you're into, I don't care. They're all terrible as far as I'm concerned. Whatever party they're in, none of them have done absolutely shit all over the last couple of terms. So everybody had all the opportunities and nobody's doing anything. So instead of pointing the finger over at the other people and saying what they do wrong and what they didn't do and we're better than them, don't tell me what's wrong with them to show that I should vote for you. Tell me what you're going to do better than the other people, right? Just tell me what you're going to do and then follow through with it. That's all you need to do. And it's not super complicated. It's so frustrating. I know I share everybody's frustration. I honestly do. And this is one of the more frustrating weeks for sure. It is what it is. We just have to be patient. The fact of the matter is the industry going? Yes. Is this going to go away? No. And Eventually, I have faith that they'll do the right thing and they'll get their act together. But as of right now, we just need to continue to hammer home, continue to tell our elected officials and, reach out to our representatives in our areas and let them know that we want reform. That's pretty much all we can do, and just be patient. All right, enjoy the rest of your weekend. It's Rod with Pow Group. Thanks again for joining us on the Pursuit of Wealth, and we'll see you on the next video.